Stitch Cutie, welcome to the video tutorial for box 3 of your Gnome block of the month. These are the tutorials for using your embroidery machine. So let's talk about what you need to have ready. So first, you'll open your kit, you'll peel the backing from all your pre-fused laser cut applique pieces. I put them in a little bowl so I don't lose any pieces because as you can see, there's a lot of littles on it this month. And then I have my trees. I'm gonna set these aside for a second. Now let's talk about the setup. Of course, you have your machine, you have your 8x12 hoop, you have your embroidery files loaded onto your machine, and then I have a rotary mat and my rotary cutter. And then on top of that, I have my Steady Betty and my favorite iron, my Steam Fast Travel iron for ironing in the hoop of my embroidery machine. Now you'll have your fabric that comes in your kit. I've gone on and starched and ironed it. We're gonna cut it in just a second, so I'm gonna set that aside. And then the last thing is our thread colors. Of course, you're gonna have a little bit of tape to hold your fabric in place when we get started. And the colors that you need, they're all 40 weight rayon threads from Sulky. So you have white 1001, and I'm just gonna set them aside. Now for your tree files, you're gonna have 3 colors. You have the light green 1177, which is an avocado. Then you have your dark brown 1130, and you have your gold, the butterfly gold 0567. So these will be used on the tree files. Now for the little gnome with the kite, these are the colors that we're using. So we have the darker green 1176. We have black 1005. Then we have the peach, which is 1019. We have the gray 1218. Again, the gold is used, again, 0567. Then we have the light aqua teal color, 1045, and of course the orange, 1168. So that's what we need to have to get started. So I'm gonna set these aside over here so I have space. What we're gonna do first, I'm gonna show you how to cut the fabric, just so you know how easy it is to get that prepared. So I am gonna move my Steady Betty for just a second. And the fabric comes already the width that you need, right? So it is 14 inches. We give you way more fabric than you need. So you're just going to fold it in half. I'm folding it in half simply because my area within the camera isn't that big, right? And then we are going to, and this is going to be trimmed down in the end, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be approximately this size because at the end we're going to trim all of our blocks down. You have several inches all the way around. So I know I need 2 at 6 and 1 at 12, or I'm sorry, 1 at 10 and 2 at 6. So I am just going to do a quick cut right here on the 6 and the 12, which gives me my 2 6s. And then what I have left, you can trim down to 10. See, it's a little bit more than you need, so I'm just going to give it a quick trim just to show you. There we go. And down to 10. Now this is all you need to do. Super easy cutting to get ready. So I am going to, first what I'm going to work on, I'm going to do the tree that has the stars on it. Then I'm going to do the tree that doesn't have any accent on it. And then we're going to do the gnome. So what I need then is one large 6 by 14 piece of fabric. The other 2 pieces I can set aside. I'm going to bring my Steady Betty back over. And hopefully in your space, you don't have to move things around as much as I do to stay in the camera shot, right? So to position our fabric, I know that I'm going to need to fold it right sides together and make a fold. And then I know I'm going to need to do one more fold. So now what you'll do is load your tearaway stabilizer into your 8x12 hoop. Load the file for block 6, that is the tree that has the stars on it. Load a white thread into your machine. And we're going to prompt for that first step. Okay, so what you'll have for your first tree that we're doing, which is block 6, you'll have a T. Now remember how we folded our fabric nicely? I'm going to turn my hoop sideways just so I make sure I stay in the shot for you. But you are going to take the folded edges and you're going to line it up with this side of the T. So let me show you what it looks like if you have it straight on. right? So you have it in the lower left quadrant of your T. Then all you're gonna do is unfold it one time this way, and then you will do the other unfolding this way. And now you know that you have your fabric perfectly centered. So what we're gonna do is put a little bit of tape on it. And this is the 3M transport tape. It's just medical tape. And we're just gonna give a few pieces of tape to our little piece to hold it in place. And then when we load this back on the machine, we're gonna keep that white thread, and the machine is going to give us our first two outlines for our applique pieces, which will be the tree trunk and the tree. So easy peasy. Let's load this up. Again, keep the white thread on until I note otherwise. Okay, so your machine stitched your tree and it stitched the outline of your tree trunk. So what I'm gonna do is just gently remove the tape so I don't accidentally iron on it. I'm gonna leave it at the top and bottom because I won't iron there. And I'm just gonna give it a little press in the center because remember I pressed that fold in. So before I iron my pieces on it, I'm gonna get rid of that. And you just wanna be careful not to distort the contents of your hoop at all during this process. That's why it's nice to have this steady Betty right in front of you. So all you're gonna do is take your stem. You wanna make sure you put your, or not your stem, your tree trunk. You wanna put your tree trunk down first because your tree overlaps this piece. So we just simply iron it right in place. And now we're gonna take our tree, which how cute is this? It's a really fun print called Blossoms from Riley Blake in their classic green. We love it. And so with a large piece, you just want to make sure you have it in the right position all the way around. And then you're just going to start at one end and work your way up. So now that I feel good about it being in place, I'm just going to start working my way up the tree. And that way, you know you have it in the perfect spot. That's it. How easy was that? So now we're gonna put this on one last step with the white thread, and the machine is going to give us the outline for our 3 stars. Now you'll see the outline for your 3 stars, so let's iron those in. Again, I just turn my hoop sideways so that I can make sure I stay in the camera shot for you. You can keep yours straight up and down as long as you have the space in front of you. So you're just gonna get your stars. You're gonna line each one up right inside the outline. Boop. And we have another one right here. I just love this gnome quilt. Like, I'm so excited to get to the part where we're stitching the gnome in this video because they're just so stinking cute. This is my all-time favorite quilt. And we have, in my opinion, a lot of really, really cute quilts. There's just something about these gnomes that they make me happy. I love them. Okay, check it out. We have our tree assembled in the hoop. So now it's time to start our thread color changes. Now for the next few steps, I'm gonna take my hoop on and off the machine. You don't need to, I'm just doing it so I can show you the color changes and show you what's stitched. So the first color we're gonna put on is the butterfly gold, the 0567, and the machine is going to do the buttonhole stitch around our 3 stars. And just like that, your stars are stitched. Let me come in close so you can see them. Don't they look awesome? So now we're going to load the green 1177. This is the lighter of the 2 greens we're using today. And the machine is going to do the outside of your tree with a lovely buttonhole stitch. Take a look at your awesome tree. Let me come in close so you can see. Doesn't that look so awesome? I just love watching the machine do this. It's fun. Okay, so now we're going to load 1130, which is our dark brown, and the machine is going to just nicely do the buttonhole stitch on our tree trunk. All right, so now everything is stitched. See how good that looks? I love it. So now let's trim our block. We're gonna unhoop it. This block is totally done. All we have to do is trim it to size, and then we're ready to set it aside until we're ready to assemble our whole quilt at the end of the year. So from your pattern, what you're gonna wanna get now, you have all your full-size placements. You're gonna wanna take the outline that has your tree, and we are going to move our pressing area. And now we're going to simply use our guide And you want to take your stabilizer off. Don't you love that it just tears away so easily? I do. So we're removing all of the stabilizer. And you can just keep the video on and playing while you're doing that. It's like we're in the same sewing room stitching together. Now when it comes to this little T that we stitched, remember we're gonna have to trim the thread a little bit. When we do that, you're gonna wanna be really careful not to cut your block, right? We're just gonna give that a little snip. And then we're gonna give it a little snip right here. Again, don't cut your fabric. There we go, that just frees the stabilizer with the thread. And you might have another little piece to trim right there. And boop, there we go. And then just tear, tear, tear. I know it looks really messy while you're tearing, but I promise once it's all torn off, it's nice and straightened up again. I like it. Look at that cute tree. Okay, so now I would typically have a longer ruler back here with me, but for some reason my favorite ruler has disappeared. So we're just going to line our tree up perfectly on the placement guide. I'm just peeking through. If you want to use your light box at this step, definitely do if you want to. And now out of the lines we're going to trim on the outer line. So this inner line is our seam line so that you know when you assemble it where your seam will be. So I am going to, because I don't want to cut my pattern, I'm going to line up my ruler and I'm going to use my friction pen and I'm going to give myself a nice line. Let me come on down here. Just be really careful not to move your piece. And I can see through my lines just fine. I know on the camera you might not be able to see my lines, but I'm using the drawn line on the outside to line up the bottom line and the top line to make sure that I'm nice and square before I trace that line. And now I want to make sure I keep it in place because remember I just kind of wiggled it. Yep, still in place. So now we're gonna do the outer line right here. And sorry, all my head is gonna come in because I wanna make sure I'm right in the right spot. Y'all get to see my crazy hair today. I don't know what's come over me. I've decided that I'm gonna let it go curly, but it's not really curly. My hair's wavy. And with humidity in Florida, it's not the best look. There we go. And so now we're just going to trace on this outer line right here. And then we'll know that we're in the exact spot. And again, my little head's gonna come in so I can make sure I line up nicely. There we go. Now again, you can be at your light box and you'll also have your nice long ruler, not this little short guy I'm using, which is a little tough to use, I must say. There we go. Okay, so now you can use your rotary cutter. I'm gonna show you trimming this one in full, and then the other 2 blocks we're doing in this video, I won't show you trimming because you'll know the process now, right? So see, this is how I like to do it so that I have it drawn and I know exactly where I'm trimming. And I don't wanna cut my pattern. So then I just trim right on my stitch line. Easy peasy. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice. Lines up perfectly. There we go. I hear someone walking in. Mom's walking in behind me. Just a second, Mom. She's coming to ask me a question or to tell me something. I don't know. There we go. And this is just my favorite way to trim. You can use whatever method you like. There we go. And just down this side real fast. There we go. One more little cut. Now what we're gonna do when we're done trimming this, we are going to load white thread on our machine. We're gonna re-hoop stabilizer in our 8x12 hoop, And then we are going to do the first step of the next tree, which is actually block 25. And that is the tree that's exactly like this, except it doesn't have the stars. So load your white thread and let's get ready with that fabric. So now we've taken the other, I have. I took the other 6x10 piece, I folded it in half right sides together, and then in half again one more time. So what we're gonna do is just like we did for the other tree, we're gonna put that on our hoop. So our hoop has the T because that's the first step. And I'm gonna turn it sideways again just to fit in the camera shot. You're gonna take your two folded edges and line it up with the bottom left of your T. And then you're gonna open it up. And you're gonna open it up. And then you're just gonna tape it into place, just like we did the other tree. And then when we put this back on, we're gonna keep the white thread for one more step. The machine is now going to give us an outline so that we know where to place the tree itself and the tree trunk. And then all we have to do are 2 color changes to stitch everything out. And this block will be done in no time at all. So one more piece of tape. There we go. All right, let's put this back on the arm of our machine and proceed to the next step. Okay, take a look. Now you have both of your pieces outlined. Just like with the first tree, it's important that you put the tree trunk on first when we iron this into place. Just right here, and I am gonna just pull that tape up so I don't get my iron on it right there. And put this in place and boop, iron that right down. There we go. And now the top of the tree. And I am gonna, again, remove that tape so I don't accidentally iron it and get my iron all sticky. We don't want that. So just make sure you have everything in line as we work our way down. All right, and then I like to start just like I did with the other. I just work my way up the tree, making sure that everything stays in place nicely. There we go. Looking good. There we go. And then I'm just gonna iron that little crease out. There we go. So now we're gonna put this on and we just have 2 color changes to do. The first color we'll load will be the green and the second will be the brown. So we're going to put on 1177 right now. And just like that, your tree is all stitched up. Doesn't that look cute? Now it's time to change to the brown 1130, and the machine is going to do a beautiful buttonhole stitch on the trunk of your tree. Okay, take a look. Everything is completely stitched. It looks really good. Now all you have to do is take this out of the hoop, and just like we did with the other tree, you will trim it down to the outside lines on your placement guide. Let me just give you a quick reminder. You will go to the far outer line, and that's your trim line. The inner line is showing you where, when you do your 1/4 inch seam allowance, sewing these to the other blocks, where, you know, what the finished area will be. So trim to the outer part of the line. I'm not gonna do that in the video because you saw me do it with the first tree and it's the same way. So I'm just gonna take this and set it aside. Now what you're gonna wanna do is load the white thread on your machine again, rehoop your stabilizer, and you're going to now load the file for block 7, which is the really cute little kite and green gnome. And you're going to do the very first step, which will be a T in the middle, and we'll be back to put that fabric in place. Okay, so that first step for your gnome block is just like with the trees, except it's a larger T. So what we're gonna do is place this in front of us, and yes, I turn my hoop sideways again. Now with the fabric, what I've done is folded it in half, right sides together, and then one more fold, right sides together. We're gonna take the 2 folded edges and line it up, just like so, with that T. And then we simply open it this way, and then one more time this way. And now we are going to nicely tape it in place in just a few spots. And what we're gonna do is keep the white thread on for several steps as the machine gives us our applique placement lines. So we're going to put this back on and we'll be back to iron the first round of pieces. Okay, so we have several applique pieces outlined. We're going to first do a nice press because I want to make sure I don't have that big old fold underneath all my pieces. There we go. So one tip that I have, because you want to make sure you have your 3 bows on your kite in the right order, just take a look at the front of your pattern. So it goes orange, aqua, and then green, just to make sure we get those in the right place. So we have the orange, then the aqua, and then the green. So cute, these little bows. When I was a kid, I loved flying kites. And I had this one kite that, to me, you know, as a kid, everything's bigger. But it was such a long tail that I would have sworn it was the length of the house. And I had so much fun flying it because I would always lay it out and drag it across the living room and make sure that, you know, the tail of it wasn't tangled or anything. And then I would go outside in the side yard and just fly that kite, or you could fly them on the beach. That was really fun. So I'm using, it'd be great if you had tweezers. I'm using the end of my scissors just to make sure I get those 3 exactly where I want them. There we go, looking cute. And if once you get it on there, you're like, oh no, I kind of missed, just kind of scoot it around while it's still hot. To me, that's great with the little pieces. Now we're going to do the first piece of the kite itself, which is the yellow. Such a fun, cheery kite. Really makes me want to fly a kite. Like all of the things for last month made me want to, or this month for the mini and the applique club and all that, look like funfetti cake. And so I've been wanting a funfetti cake like nonstop. Now this is making me want to fly a kite. I mean, I'm just telling you, this is just making me want to do all kinds of stuff. So now we're going to take our little shamrock. It's very important. There's a shamrock and the hand of your gnome. You want to put your shamrock down first. Let's see, let me show you on the front of the pattern. See, the shamrock is underneath the hand. So it's really important you do that in the right order or your stitching won't be correct. So there we go. Just put that right in place. So cute. And then our little gnome hand goes right down. And then we have 2 legs to put in place. So let me just get both of those laid down. There we go. And again, all of our gnomes have these really fun stripes. It's the Riley Blake 8th inch stripe, and they're just so adorable. I love it. And now our 2 little feetsies. So we have our left foot, or rather our shoe, and the right one. And I am going to move my tape right here because I don't want to accidentally iron my tape. And then plop, iron it right down. So now we're going to leave that white thread on. We're going to put this back on, and now the machine is going to give us another piece of our kite. It's going to give us his big belly and an arm, and then the socks on the shoes. Now we have the next few applique piece outlines. So we're going to start ironing on. So I'm going to start with the socks, and you just make sure you get the sock in the right place. And you just turn it till you get it the right direction. There we go. When you iron that one in place, then we'll do this little sock. So cute. Whoop, let me turn it. Always check. Might as well turn it and make sure. Yep, see, gotta have it the right way. And then, now right here with the arm and the belly, you have to be really careful. Let me show you in the picture. The arm is underneath the body, right? So we're gonna put the arm down first, just like so. He's starting to look like a gnome. What do you think? Well, obviously he still needs his face, but he's starting to look more like a gnome than he did a second ago. And then just put this right in place everywhere. Perfect. And then just iron his little belly. And then the last piece on this step is the aqua on the kite. Perfect. So cute, isn't it? Now we're gonna put this back on. The machine is gonna give us one hand. It's gonna give us his big beard and another piece of the kite to iron on for the next step. All right, time to iron on the pieces. So I'm gonna start with his little hand. Just gonna iron that right in place right here. So cute. I love the little gnomes. And then we have the top left corner of the kite. Put that right in place. Such fun colors, I think. And then of course his beard, which fits perfectly right here. Just make sure you get it right in the spot. And like all big pieces, just start at one end and work your way up. Perfect. So now we're gonna put this back on, and when we come back, we are going to put on his nose, his right arm, the hat, and then the final piece of the kite. Okay, so we have a few more pieces to iron on. I want to show you something really important with the overlapping. We are going to put down the arm and then the nose, and then we're going to put the hat on, right? Because the arm and the nose go underneath the hat. So I just want to point that out. It's really important. And so we're just going to take the right arm, put it right in place. So cute. And after this step, we only have one more applique piece to iron on. So once we have all these ironed in place, we will put it back on, and the machine is going to give us an outline for the star on our little gnome's hat. So cute. And look at that. I just love it. Everything fits so beautifully together. Look at that perfect little kite. I truly want to go fly a kite. I can do that and still be isolated. Maybe I should order a kite. That would be fun. I bet a lot of us are looking for new things to do. Maybe we haven't done in a long time. We've been getting the nicest phone calls from everyone about how they love getting their blocks and it makes them happy. So I'm so glad that we're there for everybody in this sort of crazy time that we're living in. We can't dwell on it, we just make the best of it. And by the best of it, it means do a lot of fun sewing, like our gnomes. So cute. And then if you have something where, like, I think I need to pull that down a little, if you have tweezers, use your tweezers. I'm just using the scissors because they're right here. Just pull it into place if you got it a little off. And then we're gonna put this back on. The machine is gonna give us an outline for our star. We'll be back to iron that on, and then we're gonna start all of the fun color changes and really enjoy watching this come to life with the threads. Okay, so let's iron our star on. So cute. Let me just turn it. There we go. I love this little gnome. Wonder which gnome is my favorite. I really love them all. They're just so fun. Okay. Now we're ready to do all the fun color changes. So the first color we're gonna start with is this dark green, the 1176. I actually believe it might be called medium avocado, but it's 1176, and the machine is going to do all the green stitching. So it's gonna do the green on the kite, and then the string for the kite. It's gonna do his arms, his body, the shamrock, the hat, his legs, and his socks. Okay, so now all of that green is stitched. Let's take a look close up. Oh my gosh, looks awesome. Okay, so now we're going to change our thread color to black, 1005, and the machine is gonna stitch our 2 shoes for our gnome. And a reminder, I take this off between every step so I can show you what we've stitched and remind you of the thread color change, but you don't need to take your hoop on and off for the next several steps when we're changing colors. So load that 1005 black and let's get to stitching. So now your little shoes are stitched. Let's take a look. So fun. Now we're going to load the peach 1019, and the machine is going to stitch our nose in both of our hands. Okay, take a look. Your little nose and your hands are stitched so cute like. Now it's time to load the gray, which is 1218, and the machine is going to do the little gnome beard for you. Okay, take a look at what we have so far. Looking good. His little beard's all stitched. Now we're going to put on the butterfly gold 0567, and the machine is going to do this little top right corner of the kite for us. And oop, I was kind of out of shot, so right up here, and it's also going to do this star. Okay, we're getting close. There are only 2 more color changes to do. Take a look. Our little gnome is so happy. So now we're going to load the 1045, the light teal / aqua turquoise color. And the machine is going to do one little bow for us, and it's going to do the bottom left of our kite. Okay, we only have 1 more color change, so let's take a look at the aqua that just stitched. Looking good. Now we're going to put on the orange 1168, and we'll be all done with box 3 of our gnomes. Okay, now you're all done. Let me go close up all the way down of your gnome. Doesn't it look so good? I love it. Okay, so now you will trim this just like you did with your 2 trees. Let me just show you on the placement guide the right line to use. So I'm gonna set this aside. Now on your placement guide, you are going to use the very outer line as your trim line. The inner line is showing you that once it's sewn, that's going to be your seam line when it's stitched in with the other blocks. So outer line is your trim line. And so I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial. I hope you're having so much fun with your gnomes. I know I am, and I can't wait for next month when we get box 4. So happy stitching, everyone.